Welcome to episode 39 of the Greeting Mashiach podcast. Yesterday, or in a few days, depends when you're watching this, is Shvat, 75th year anniversary of the Rebbe's Nesias. And there's so much to talk about, and I had so much planned to talk about. And then Trump dropped a bomb on Gaza, figuratively, and now there's even more to talk about. So, how does this all come together? Is this a good thing? Is it not? Is this? Well, we know one thing is for sure, Levi. What do we know for sure about all the things going on over here? Who's behind the scenes? That's the first thing we got to remember.
So, if you're a person that has been watching this, and this is not your first episode, you will know that this is all Publicizing, Hamishpacha, העמים. This is the effect.
Thing.
This is the working in English. This is the working. This is the how would you translate it?
This is the effect with an E of Melech HaMashiach on nations. So what that means is we know Mashiach is supposed to do things, and he's going to affect and change the entire world. And all the things like this that are going on in motion, for better or worse, this is part of his actions. Mashiach is behind the scenes. He's the marionette guy controlling all the stuff. So let's get into it. Shvat, 75 years of the Rebbe's Nesias. We're going strong, and the Rebbe's going to take us out of Gaulas, and we're watching historic events of biblical proportions happening before us. I don't know if anybody's watching the news or not, but every day there is crazy, crazy things happening. The world is changing. And if the world could change like this in 1 second, we know for sure that Mashiach could change the world and take us out of Gaulas in 1 second. So let's get all into it. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah. Before we get into it, you mentioned how like anything can change in a second. It's literally crazy. If you've been following even for a little bit, everything that has been happening since the inauguration, since President Trump took office, and got the power to actually do things. He's literally been just one thing after the other without respite, like no respite. Like people like that are against him and trying to criticize everything that he does, literally can't keep up. One thing we're criticizing him on this, and all of a sudden he does something else, and now it's like to the next thing. Now that's old news, and it's amazing how that's the expectation that everybody has about Geula is like it's just gonna the floodgates are gonna open and the water's just gonna rush and pour out, and we're gonna have no time to really what's the word?
The process,
absorb,
internalize
it, to absorb, right? Everything that's going on, but I think I heard a very amazing explanation that's not how the Geula is going to happen. The Geula, the whole point is that it should manifest itself. It shouldn't be internalized in the Gashmias. The whole point is that God wants a dir b'tachtonim. He wants a dwelling place in this physical world. Part of that is that it's not destroying this physical world. It's not against the nature of the physical world, right? We know the difference between. It says, we're reading it in this week's in these week's parshias, that the wonders that we saw in Mitzrayim, the wonders that Hashem showed us in Mitzrayim, I will show you the same wonders when Mashiach comes in the future Geula, which we're experiencing now. But the main difference between our current Geula, the redemption that we're currently experiencing, and the redemption of Mitzrayim, is the redemption of Mitzrayim was breaking nature. If you go through every single one of the plagues, it is the Makkos, it's breaking, it's unnatural. It's the opposite of nature. Water being turned into blood, frogs coming out of nowhere, one big frog, and then whatever, all the midrashim, the hail, fire, and ice. All these different things are so not natural. And then we get to the splitting of the sea, which we're reading in this week's parsha, we just read, is like nature of water is to flow, and here, all of a sudden, we're changing the nature, we're making it stop. It's something that everybody was able to see. And what's amazing is even then, when it was clear and it was in front of your face, there were still people that had issues. There were still people that didn't want to leave, didn't want to leave Mitzrayim. It's like, really, you're seeing all these. It's funny, like when the Jews complain later on in the next weeks, and God tells them, like, oh my gosh, Moshe tells them all these wonders, all these miracles that Hashem did for you in your face that you're able to see, and yet you're still complaining, yet you still have questions.
Yeah, this is a big thing. So many. You have discussions with people that are convinced when Mashiach will come for real, I'll know about it. Like, I won't need some Lubavitchers to make me crazy about Mashiach and show me where it says in the Sikha, if Mashiach comes, I'm going to know Mashiach came. And, you open up Chumash and you see that Mashiach came in the sense of, like, Moshe Rabbeinu came to Mitzrayim and said, guys, I'm ready to take you out of Galus. And everyone was like, how? We don't believe you. What are you talking about? And then Moshe was worried they were going to say that. So then he shows them the miracles. And in the end, they said he goes to Paray and he says, you made it worse, Moshe, get out of here. You kafir, you apikatis, what are you coming and changing up the story we have here? We're in Mitzrayim, stop messing things up.
We're good.
And step by step, all the Makkahs. The Rebbe says, Paray had to send the Yidden out of Mitzrayim. There were still Yidden. They said, why do we? I didn't say this lashon is from the Rebbe. I'm quoting. The Rebbe says, why should we follow? The Yidden then said, why should we follow a wilde mensch wie Moshe Rabbeinu, a wild man like Moshe Rabbeinu, into a desert where there's no water and no food? We have in Mitzrayim. We after already Rosh Hashanah, the Shibud stopped. They stopped having to work in the for the Mitzrayim. After enough Makkos, they read, all right, we got the point. They stopped enslaving the Jews, so they're not slaves. We're living in Mitzrayim. We have the Chatum Mitzrayim, the best magicians you can find around. We're buddies with everyone. We're here. Why should we follow a wild man like Moshe Rabbeinu out into the desert? Paray had to send them out of Mitzrayim forcefully. Get out. You wouldn't believe this. You said, what do you mean? If Mashiach comes, don't know about it. My friends, lo yidach mimenu nidach. No Jew will be left behind. Yes, in the end, Mashiach will inspire and take everyone. It says, "Va'atem teluktu la'achad echad b'nei Yisroel." The Navi tells us that Hashem will take by the hand each and every person and take them out of Galus. Mashiach is going to take everyone out of Galus. But if you think that this is an easy thing, or you think that this is just going to snap your fingers and it's like happening automatically, maybe theoretically it could have happened that way. We know there are different ways that Mashiach can come. But it would seem that this is happening, and very soon it should happen with the blink of an eye. Yeshua, Hashem, Kahadafai, will go out of Galus, and there's not going to be even to think about it. But it seems that we're doing this the long, hard way. It doesn't have to be long and hard, but as long as we're still in Galus, we know the job we have to do, and it's to get on board and on track with greeting Mashiach and realizing that it's happening. Don't be like these people in Mitzrayim who are ignoring the story. This is after 80% of the Yidden already died in Chayshach. Even the ones that were left, there was people who didn't want to leave the seat. So this is, it's not easy. When you're stuck in Galus, the Pasuk tells us, Me'kaitze ruach o me'avoda kasha. They didn't listen to Moshe because of kaitze ruach me'avoda kasha. It's schwer being in Galus. Nobody's at fault here. It's only the Eibishter for making Galus. It says that every single day the Eibishter regrets that he made Galus.
Wow.
The Eibishter regrets that he made Yetzer Hara. I just did not Kiddush Levana because there's a forecast for 96% cloud cover Mitzvah Shabbos.
Nice.
Yeah, real nice. And it says Kiddush Levana. The Eibishter is that we talk about the moon becoming smaller. Last love, it's going to be bigger. Every Rosh Chodesh in the Beis Hamikdash to bring a carbon, but the carbon wasn't for the Yidden. The carbon was for the Eibishter because the Eibishter is sorry every month that he made the moon small. And he has to have a carbon. He should be forgiven. I guess forgive himself. That's what the Medrash tells us. Something like that anyways. The whole Galus, the whole business, the whole Miyat, we're learning now Basi Laganis, if we don't know, every year the Rebbe would say, Shvat, we'll get into that, we'll explain, but we'll explain in a second what that's all about. But the theme of this year is anyways, it's talking all about Tzimtzum and all the levels of Hashem concealing himself. And for the ultimate point of of revelation, the ultimate point of all the concealments Hashem makes, the ultimate point of all the Golos and making the moon smaller, and all, it's to accomplish something. It's to bring out how this world really is a garden. Shout out to This World is a Garden. This, if you know, you know. And this world was created to make a dwelling place for Hashem. This world was created for Mashiach times. You know, some people say, the Chassam Sefer says even, why should we care so much about Mashiach? Why should we be focused on that? We focus on Torah mitzvahs. Like, not necessarily should it be one of the 39 Imamins. But the reality is that this world was created for the times of Mashiach. All the tzimtzum, all the contractions of godly light, all the concealments, it's all not really a concealment. The whole Galus is not really concealed. It's all to bring out, and God is there every single step of the way. Every single part of Galus, it is godliness. That's what we're here to reveal. That's what you're saying. It takes time. It's the slow process to show that essentially the entire time it's all godliness. It's all about Mashiach times. We're going to turn the lights on when Mashiach comes. We're going to see how every single mitzvah we did brought down godliness into the world. We're going to see how all the negative things that happened, no, it was all godliness every step of the way. Mashiach is the whole purpose of everything. When Mashiach comes, the whole galus, with all of the Torah, we learned the whole galus, it's all going to feel like a bad dream. It's going to be like all of history till Mashiach comes is going to be fake news. Even including all the Torah we learned then. Compared to the Torah we're going to learn when Mashiach comes, it's all going to be fake news. The whole Gemara, the Shulchan Aruch, Bavli, Rishalmi, the whole business. We're going to look back at it compared to the amazing Torah. If you care about Torah, you should care about Mashiach. Imagine that. All the Torah we've ever known, it's going to be Hevel, the Gaber Terasi Shal Malach HaMashiach. Imagine that. So it's coming, yeah. I inspired myself.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
There you go. L'chaim.
L'chaim. I don't even have a l'chaim here.
That's okay. So no, I was just, the point that I was in the middle of making was that the way the Geula that is happening now is that it has to manifest itself, it has to internalize itself in the Tachtin, in us specifically. So I think part of the, in addition to the one and only shlichus, the one and only avodah that we have to do, of Kabbalah's Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu, of getting the world ready, getting ourselves ready to actually greet Mashiach, to welcome, to basically recognize and to give space to the concept that Mashiach is actually here and the world is actually being transformed and Mashiach is actually doing things and running the world. That makes Mashiach have more power and have more jurisdiction, so to speak, to then do the other things, the real things that Mashiach needs to do, which is to be Mekabeh Simchei Yisroel and to build the Beis HaMikdash. And the second thing that we need to do, which was later after Kabbalas Pnei Mashiach Tzidkenu, was to actually open our eyes. And something I noticed with opening up your eyes is that it's part and parcel with this concept that you have to internalize it. Right? The Rebbe says, what's the whole thing of opening up your eyes? The Rebbe says that the Geula is here.
That's what it means. It's not a literal opening of the eyes. It's opening up your mind and your heart to appreciate and see the Geula going on around you. To not be to see the reality the way Moshe Rabbeinu paints the reality. And to really believe the Rebbe.
Correct. And what's the point? The Rebbe says over here, the Rebbe says that the table is set. We have the Sharbar, the Yain, and Meshumar, all these things. You're sitting at the table with Mashiach Tzidkenu. And the Rebbe says, we have the Geula here, Bepashtos, and now we have to bring it Bepoyel. Then our opening up of our eyes is in order to basically bring it down into physical in a way where it can actually change the physical world. So what I've noticed is that the way to do that, and the point is to see the world as it is, meaning to see events as Geula events, to see a piece of fish as the Levyasan. Meaning the Rebbe is not saying that, there's the Levyasan, the spiritual table is set, everything is happening spiritually, and now we have to, bring it down and draw it down. No. The fish is a Levyasan, but you have the option of seeing it as a Levyasan or just seeing it as a gullus piece of fish.
You're saying the fish that you do have on the table is the fish of the Levyasan. I haven't thought about it like that.
Every single event that happens, everything that is happening now is Geula Bepashtos. It's Geula. However, the way to bring it down to where it actually makes a difference in the physical world, right? For example, the fish is not. I don't think Leviathan is kosher. I mean, before the Geula, right?
Why wouldn't it be kosher?
It has fins and scales.
Sure. I think so. It for sure has fins because it's going to shecht the...
Right.
It's going to shecht the sharabar with its fins.
Right. Okay.
And the
I'm
question will be...
colloquial,
Yeah.
If that it's a whale, whatever. Anyways.
Who said it's a whale?
But the point... I don't know. That's what it... Leviathan, whatever. Point is... Oh, so what's the point? The point is that at some point, the Geula can only be here so much, but it doesn't change halacha, right? We still have to do all the things
correct
as if we were in Gaza still. But the point is that technically, right? Brings me to reminds me of Tisha B'av when it was Shabbos Nidcha, right? The Rebbe was saying that this is Tisha B'av of the Geula. Why? Because this is if in the Geula we would be eating and drinking. And the point is that every single Tisha B'av is Geula b'pashtus, and our opening up of our eyes is to bring it to Geula b'poyel, that it actually changes and it actually makes a difference in halacha, in our physical world. So what I'm trying to get to is like this. Every time you see a piece of news, anything that is happening, any event that is happening in the world, whether it's globally, whether it's internationally, or whether it's nationally or in your local, town, it is an event of Geula, but it has the potential, meaning, in essence, it is the Geula, but it could either manifest itself in a negative way or in a positive way as the Geula, and that is what it means that it's up to us. That
to open
we have
our
to open
eyes,
our eyes,
to internalize it, to make it a Geula reality.
To internalize it, correct. To make it that it shouldn't affect the world negatively, and I think this has to do with something that I thought I've mentioned it a few times already, that there are things that happen in the world that came into the world and are negative, even though in essence they are redemption. They are things of the Geula, like feminism, for example, and there was a few other things, but what happened was it came as a Geula b'pashtos, but because
it was corrupted and perverted because it was not channeled correctly.
Because we have to recognize that we have power. Our words, the way we view the world has power.
Jews control the world.
Correct. Jews control the world, but it's funny because they tell us what's the thing that the Rebbe says that the world is telling us that that the Geula is here and all these things.
The Welt ist in Zuge gerät fertig, which I don't know.
Whatever it is, but the point is that the world is telling us our power, right? The anti-Semites are right. We do control the world. We have the effect that we have on the world is real, and because of that, if we just sit by and just let things happen, it's not good.
I'm just trying to imagine. Sorry, you painted a picture in my head now. I'm trying to imagine anti-Semites when Mashiach comes, and it's like they start seeing the Jews take over the world, and they're gonna be like, "He's doing it right now. He's taking over the world. The Jews are taking over the world.
They're doing it.
They're literally controlling the whole world." We're gonna be like,
they're doing the thing.
It's worth it, Mashiach, just for that, Guys, you might think it's going to be all spiritual. Everyone's going to be streaming the Geula on YouTube, on Instagram Live, on X Spaces. Like, what do you, this is not, like, technology doesn't get shut down when Geula comes. This is like, it's going to be exciting, guys, let me tell you.
Yeah. Very, very. No, so my point, this is my point, and this is why I have this platform, because if not, no one's going to listen to me. It's really, really important to really recognize that fact. Recognize how much power you have in your hands. And because of that, what's the saying? With great power comes great responsibility. We can't just sit by and let things happen. we have an obligation. My favorite is the Rebbe says about Chizkiyahu HaMelech that Hashem wanted to make him Mashiach, right? And with
Mashiach.
Right, with Chizkiyahu HaMelech being Mashiach, the war with Sancheriv would be considered Gog and Magog. So, and why did he not give Chizkiyahu HaMelech to be Mashiach? Because he didn't do Shira. He didn't thank Hashem for the miracle. He didn't make a big deal about this miracle. And the Rebbe says that because of that, we see that talking about miracles and being mefarsim nisim, publicizing miracles, is a direct connection, has a direct connection to the revelation of Mashiach and to the redemption in the world. Which for me it was like mind blowing. I was like, it opened my eyes. That we have to take world events and point to them and connect them to Mashiach.
So when we do that, when we take the world events going on around us and connect them in our minds, in our hearts, and in our actions to Mashiach, we internalize them and realize it's the Jews realizing it that actually makes all the difference.
Correct.
Right. Had Chizkiyahu realized that the Sancheriv story is Gog and Magog and this is that, and thanked Hashem properly, that it would have happened. If people would have been focusing on it properly in their actions, the problem there was the action. He didn't internalize it in saying Shira. It would have had
right.
Mashiach.
And this is correct. And this is the point. The point is that it has to come out verbally. It has to come out in a way that is publicized, that people can hear.
This whole attitude of, it'll happen whenever it happens. It doesn't matter. We don't have to do about it. I'll find out when he comes. No source entire for this. It's just fake news. It's just fake news. It's because of years of the. I was reading today. I don't know if it's Zoyl Litzfos, but anyways, I was in the mikveh this morning, and on the way to the mikveh, I was listening to Yehuda Geberer, Jewish History Soundbites. He had an episode recently about the Maharsha. Very interesting. So this morning,
not a paid sponsor.
Not a paid sponsor. Somebody asked me what's new. Everyone always assumes I have something interesting to say. I don't know why. Somebody. So a guy asked me, what do you have to say? What could you say inside of a mikveh? So you can talk about politics, or you can talk about the Maharsha, So I said I was saying over some stories, interesting things I heard about the Maharsha in the podcast. Then I mentioned it seemed to recall in my mind that he was a bit of a snag. Not for the podcast. I seem to recall reading this in Lubavitcher's memoirs. It's liksich by me that he was like. So then I obviously had to look it up, and it says there the history of the Alter Rebbe's lineage, and there was the Maharal's Einikel, two of his Einiklach, for one from his son and his daughters of their Einiklach, got married. It was the Shidduch, and it was saying how the people there in Paisan were anti-Kabbalah. And it says why? Because the Maharsha, who lived in Paisan, was anti-Kabbalah. And this was because of Shabtai Tzvi. A lot of in general, that time, there was an anti-Kabbalah movement. This was because of Shabtai Tzvi, that people blamed that on Kabbalah. People were very wary of Kabbalah. So he was against the studying of Kabbalah. So I asked Rabbi Heller, he's a Drush Keila in the Crown Heights, and he says, Kevish Zayin. Fake news. There's no way. Either it's not accurate, the story, or what it means is, because the Maharsha learned Kabbalah for sure, that he said it's not something that should be learned publicly, berabim, that should be taught to everyone. It should be something that's only for Muslim. So it turns out not a snack. Maharsha were very good. Maharsha's very good. Not that he needs my approval, but Maharsha, even there in the story, he was bringing out the mile of the Maharsha. But it was just saying that the history, the region at the time there was an anti-Kabbalah sentiment. What was the point? Everyone was wary. Shabtai Tzvi, because everyone got very burnt about the whole thing. But you got to get over it. The way the Geula is supposed to happen is not by being scared of it. It's by facing it head on. if Mashiach's coming, we got to get involved and not be like the people in Mitzrayim who are Mekayt Zeruch and Maved Kasha. They didn't listen to Moshe Rabbeinu. So speaking about Moshe Rabbeinu, Shabbos is Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat is the day when the Frierdiker Rebbe passed away. Is the Stalkos, and the mimer he gave out for his Stalkos because he couldn't speak anymore. He gave out the mimer to be given out. Then was a 4-part hemshech, 4-part continuation. The first one to be given out in Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat was his grandmother's yard site, and it turned out to be his yard site as well. And it was called Basi Lagani. And this mimer Basi Lagani talks about the descent of the 7 of the Shechina used to be in this world. Like we were explaining that this world essentially is good, and we're just here to reveal it. And then came 7 Averis that moved the Shechina away from this world, and 7 Tzaddikim came and brought it back down into this world, ending with Moshe Rabbeinu, that all 7 are cherished, Kol Shvin Chavivin, and therefore Moshe was the one tasked with the job, because he was the 7th one of actually bringing the Shechina down here, and that was with Matan Torah, and the hemshech of that it be done in a proper full way was the Mishkan. And that's the job of each and every one of us, the rest of all, till Mashiach comes, to properly bring down the Shechina into this world. There was the actual Beis Hamikdash, and then there's the Beis Hamikdash inside of each and every one of us, and that's our avodah of transforming the world. And then also every single year for 20 years, and then the Rebbe started the cycle again, would explain one part of this 20. There's 20 paragraphs to the mimer. He would hold the entire mimer for each year. So this year we're all learning the Mamar of Tafshin Chaf Hei, 1965, and then Tafshin Mem Hei, and everyone's storming, and it's great. The Rebbe, so if you're in Chabad now, it's around Yud Shvat, everyone is all learning the same thing. Everyone's all excited. It's Yud Shvat. This is the Rebbe is it's so clear and obvious that the Rebbe is still the Nasi Adar, and that we're still the Dar Shvi. It's still going on. It's amazing. So when the Rebbe took over the Nesias, that was the next year already. After Yud Shvat Tavshin Yud became Yud Shvat Tavshin Yud Aleph. That was 1 year later, and then the Rebbe officially accepted the leadership. And it was in that mimer that Rebbe said then, where he made it clear, unequivocally, that this is the last generation of Gullus. We're the 7th generation of Chabad, and it is our job, the 7th generation, which, as everybody knows, goes forever, until Mashiach comes. And don't let nobody tell you any different. Do we have an episode about that? I don't know. It's our job to bring the Geula down here in this world. And that's why we're so sure, as Lubavitchers, as Chassidim of the Rebbe, that Mashiach is coming for real, and that it's not fake news, and that the Rebbe is still Mashiach. It all started with this Ma'amad Bas Lagani, that this is the last generation of Gullus. It is our job to bring Mashiach for real. The Rebbe tasked our generation with that job, and all the stuff that came afterwards, all the shlichas, all the learning, all of the activities, all the mivtzayim, it is all with one goal: to bring Mashiach Tzidkeinu. We're very goal-centric here. It wasn't stam things. It was there to bring Mashiach, to bring about the Geula Mitzvah Shlema from the very first day of the Rebbe's leadership. And now, 75 years later, nothing changed. It's the same. I mean, a lot of things changed, but the mission statement is the same: to bring the Geula down here in this world, and at all costs. There's no other side quests. Now we're just gonna. We're not just now going to focus on okay, well that didn't work, so now we'll just focus on Mitzrayim. We'll just focus on putting tefillin again. We'll just focus on doing making siyumei hashas or Ramba, all the great activities and pulas. We have to remember, you got to keep the goal in mind. It was always about bringing the Geula, and now that it comes Yud Shvat, it's time to recenter our goal. Yud Shvat Chassidim write a pan to the Rebbe. We read Ksavas Kashrus, just like it was the very first year. Chassidim wrote to the Rebbe. They said, we're accepting you to be our Rebbe, we want you to be our Rebbe. It's the same thing when it comes to Yud Shvat again. The right Ksavas Kashrus, that they accept upon themselves. They're listening to the Rebbe. And this is now 75 years. Now, there's nothing really significant about a number of years, but the Rebbe spoke how, because in the Welt people get excited about, complete numbers, so we'll make a stern about it also. So 75 years, it's a massive art, and for sure it's time to reinvigorate ourselves. But the main shlichus that the Rebbe gave us, the Kabul Pnei Mashiach Tzidkeinu. So we're getting over here a question from one of our Chashuva listeners here. Led, you want to read the question?
Yeah. So question number 1. Are women/girls in Lubavitch taught sichos about Mashiach the way the men/boys learn it? That's a very good question.
And the answer is I have no idea. I'm not a girl. I don't know. What?
I would say that, to be honest, nobody's really teaching the sichas. No, but seriously, I think it's a little different. Generally, the way men and women, boys and girls learn, they have just naturally they have a different tchona, they have a different personalities. So the way it's taught is more outside, is more general, talking about topics, more like hashkafa classes where they just talk it out.
There's no doubt that women seem
inside.
to get it a lot more than men do. I don't know if they're learning it in depth or not, but they seem to get the point a lot more than men get the point.
Oh, totally. I actually.
And it's not even. And it's not even close. And it's not even close.
I just saw a video of Rabbi Shlomo Majeski. He teaches Machon Chana in Crown Heights. He teaches women, and there was a video of one of the participants of the Machon Chana was asking a bunch of questions to Rabbi Majeski, and asked a similar question. Asked, "What do you like? Who do you like teaching better, women or men?" He said, "I like teaching the women better because they're more accepting. They're
so happy for it to be true. They're so happy for the Rebbe to be Mashiach and take us out of Galus. That's good news.
They're less cynical. Yes. Yeah. Why do we say that?
No, but it's true because men are much more cynical. Men are tasked with actually getting things done in this world. No offense to all the women. Women are cultivate things, but women are not doing big construction projects and managing all the things. Whatever, we're not getting into it. But men and women do different things, and it's necessary for men to be a little bit more cynical about things and pragmatic. So they always have that pragmatic angle, which is not helping us when it comes to this to Mashiach.
Another point that is connected to Shvat, to the Yartzeit of the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Frierdiker Rebbe revolutionized the concept of women learning, like serious learning, not just But the next question is: are mivtzoim for women the same it's for men?
No.
Well, they don't do tefillin, right?
No, no, but women still have to do mitzvayim. I think women have to do mitzvayim. Women do mitzvayim, but women do mitzvayim with other women that they should put on neshek, that they should light Shabbos candles, and they should keep Taharas Hamishpacha, and that they should be tzenua. All the things that are related to women, the women are more focused on, and the things that are focused to men, the men focus on. So each one in their field of what's relevant to them. We know that Avram was dealing with the men, and Sarah was dealing with the women.
There's also a difference in style of mivtzoim. One of them is much more outside. The men go out and they do things outside and also very fast, but also, and women do it more internal. Kol kvod bas melech panima. The point is that women are more private, and especially with Taharas Hamishpacha, and the way women do things are more done in a toned down way. They don't really go out so much. It's not really a big thing to go out on the street and to ask women if they're Jewish. It's done, but it's not like focus.
It's interesting you mentioned Taharas Hamishpacha. Taharas Hamishpacha.
Yeah.
They had a big campaign to talk to people about Taharas Hamishpacha, that it's so important. It's literally saving souls. And it's very awkward. You go up to a couple, they want to get married, say, all right, time to talk about, let me tell you how this is going to go down. It's like, stay out of our bedroom, thank you very much. And if you've never heard of it, it sounds ludicrous. The whole thing is preposterous. The mikvah, the separation, the whole thing is ridiculous. And you go tell a couple, no, you're going to go do this. Who would, first of all, you think they're never going to buy it, and you feel so uncomfortable bringing it up and talking about it. And the Rebbe went on a full-on war against this, saying how it's not true, and that they will talk about it, and they will be receptive. People want to hear about it, and this is beneficial for marriage, Pasha Begashmias, but mainly because the Eibishter said so. And
do it.
And so many brachas will come to you. This past week's Living Torah, for those who watched it, was all about Taharas Hamishpacha. Miracles that happen for people who follow Taharas Hamishpacha, where the Rebbe told them to. You think, it's going to be so scary. It's going to be Merachik people. It's going to distance people from Chabad, from Yiddishkeit. If I tell them about Taharas Hamishpacha, I'm going to tell them what to do in their bedroom. How could you do that? The Rebbe said, watch me. Hold my beer. You could do this and do that. And you know what? People are doing it all over the world, and you have beautiful mikvahs everywhere. That's another point. You have to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it nicely. You have to make it that the woman should want to do it. It should be nice. It should be comfortable. Give them incentives. Make a nice mikveh. But absolutely, it can't be done. Don't shy away from the challenge. Do it. And Mashiach is no different. You have to not shy away from the challenge, and we got to do it.
Yeah, there's one more question.
One more question. All right, what do we got?
So why did it take a year for the Rebbe to take on the Nesias of becoming Rebbe? And is there a specific significance that he became Rebbe on Yud Shvat, which is the Yarchait of the Frierdiker Rebbe?
So first of
all... That's
a
beautiful question.
Yeah,
wow.
So obviously there's a significance, yeah.
And what is said significance?
So the reason the Rebbe didn't, first of all, as soon as there can't be without a Nasi Adar, so I guess the Rebbe was the de facto Nasi Adar as soon as the Frierdiker Rebbe passed away. But the Rebbe never really gave up on the Frierdiker Rebbe being the real Nasi Adar. Like we know that the Rebbe always considered his father-in-law to still be the Rebbe. That's why he didn't just take over right away. Took pressure, big pressure campaign. And even afterwards, throughout all of the years of the Rebbe's Nesias, he referred to his father-in-law as the Rebbe. He referred to his father-in-law as Mashiach, the whole 9 yards, till the last, till today. The Frierdiker Rebbe is Mashiach. The Frierdiker Rebbe is the leader of the generation, and the Rebbe is, the manager on the ground. He's he'll be the hands and feet of the Nasi Adar and the Mashiach. But what's behind it is really the Frierdiker Rebbe. And when they're practicing, the Rebbe took all of his letters, all the things, the Rebbe brought it to the Frierdiker Rebbe by the oil. The Rebbe actually was always communicating with him. Was always He did indeed treat it that way, like the Frierdiker Rebbe was still the Nasi. So it took a year of pressure from the Chassidim. We spoke previously on this podcast how when it comes to the king, a king, and we said that the seventh generation, the spheres, the seven emotions, the seventh one is Malchus, kingship. Malchus, kingship has nothing of its own. It's built up from everything else. It's built up from the people. Ein melech palayam. You cannot have a king without a person. You want to bring out the kingship quality of the king is so uplifted. He's so beyond it all. You want to bring up his quality of kingship, it needs to come from the people. And the Rebbe, more than any other Nasi, he's the melech. He's the king. And it took the Chassidim for a year begging and asking the Rebbe to be Rebbe that it actually took effect. There's politics about how it actually happened. You put it in the newspapers, the Rebbe said take it out, whatever it was. But in the end, everyone kind of knew that this was going to happen. Yud Shvat, the day when the Rebbe was for bringing. It's been a year since his father, since the Maimer of Basi Legani, since the Stalkers of the Frierdiker Rebbe. And during that Verbringen, the Rebbe started, there's, this version of events of what happened. But the point, we have the recording of the Verbringen, actually. It's amazing. And the Rebbe says, Basi Legani. And, only a Rebbe says a Maimer. When the Rebbe said that Maimer, that was him officially taking the reins of leadership. Now, years later, the Rebbe actually addressed the significance of Yud Shvat, Yud Aleph Shvat, that there's the power of 10, the power of 11, and that's why it was the 11th year and was already by night, so it was already the 11th of Shvat. Shvat is the 11th month in the Hebrew year, starting from Nisan. So 11 is beyond the power of Mashiach, the power of beyond this world, beyond 10, beyond the system.
It's also on the 11th hour.
The 11th hour. Rabbi Wolf, highly recommend. He speaks a lot about this. Hamishpacha is 11. So the Rebbe spoke about this. I don't remember the exact details because I haven't looked at that Sikh in a little while. But the Rebbe definitely addresses this idea that the significance of when the Rebbe accepted the leadership of the next stage of the Frierdiker Rebbe's Nesias, the way it moved on after his life, through his Talmidim after him. Basically, the Rebbe's Nesias, that generation, our generation. So yeah, very significant. It's a very big deal. And we're all strengthening our skashras. And what is like a lot of shluchim you were posting today from all the different shluchim from Verbringen and Tafshin Samach Aleph, that they were all saying how skashras to the Rebbe means doing what the Rebbe tells you. And now in each generation, you want to share what they were saying?
Which one?
No, this idea that in each generation, there was that mission.
Yeah,
there was the tefillin. There was the tefillin. When the Rebbe spoke about the tefillin, his skashras meant doing with the tefillin. When the Rebbe spoke about all the different things the Rebbe spoke about, the skashras meant doing what the Rebbe was telling you to do. Then, in our times, the thing the Rebbe wants us to do is Kabbalah Pnei Mashiach Tzkenu, to kach Mashiach, to greet him. Mashiach is there. We have to greet him. That's the thing that we need to be kaching in. That's what the skashras means these days. You got to wake up and smell the coffee. That's what's going on. So when it comes to Shvat, what are we focusing on? Yeah. It's like some people say, now we're focusing on Yud Shvat. Now we're focusing on... No. It's always Mashiach. That's what we're focusing on. And especially if it's about a skashros, then the topic is Mashiach. Topic is greeting Mashiach. That's what Iskashis means these days, amongst other things. But that's the whole focus. That's the goal. That's the shar, the gate to which everything goes. So we're speaking so much about seeing Mashiach in the world around us. So we got to keep you guys updated what's going on in the world around us. Now the news changes so much every day. We won't even know if this will be relevant to the 3 days whenever this airs. But they're vile.
Before you get there, I just want to. I'm being fact checked here by some Neshamas Deban. I said women they don't really learn Sichos inside, and I'm being told that this is not true. That they do learn it inside, and in fact, one of their teachers told them that they have to memorize which chelik it is so they could look it up after. And
So I saw
Sorry
a joke.
about that.
I saw a joke a few minutes ago that February has 3 days when men are correct. February 29th, February 30th, and February 31st.
There you go.
Yeah, women's
Right.
gonna be fact checking us. All right, we'll take it. When Mashiach
Today's
comes,
not that day.
Nekevet the Sav Gever, that the females will be on top. That's the. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So what were you gonna say?
So yesterday
about the news? Crazy.
Yesterday was Tuesday, Vav Shvat. It was a press conference at a little after about 7:00 Eastern time. This was after Trump had met with Bibi in the White House, and they were talking about. They had a meeting before that in the Oval Office. They had a little press conference there, a mini one, and they were talking about deporting 1.7 to 1.8 million Palestinians, shipping them all out. And he was going to pressure the other, Arab nations to take the Palestinians, and this kind of sounded far-fetched. Nobody was sure what that means. And then comes this press conference. I don't even know if Bibi knew about this. Look at the expression on his face. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyways, and Trump says, the U.S. will own Gaza. We will own it. We will take care of it. We are going to empty out the entire place. We're going to clean up from all the bombs, all the rubble, and we're going to rebuild it. So just to clarify, his plan as of when he gave the speech is we're going to get rid of every single person from Gaza. The place is not livable. And there's no reason they have to be stuck living there. It's a humanitarian problem. I'm going to come as their savior and liberator. And I'm going to strong arm all the rest of the countries in all the other Arab countries that I'm going to force them to make place for you guys to go there and to be able to live there happily. And you're not even going to want to go back to Gaza. You're going to have a better place to live. He says Gaza is bad luck, which is true, by the way. Look at the Torah. It's always been contested, always been Palestinian land. There was a few times in history when Yidden had control over it. But by and large, throughout all of history, the Yidden have had trouble with Gaza. It's not like a new Chiddush that started 5 minutes ago. And we're just going to clear the place out. I'm going to fix it for you, says Trump. We're going to send you out, going to give you a place to live, and we're going to start. He says, you can't live there now. It's crazy. The place is a dump. It's impossible. You got nothing. And U.S. is going to own it. And this was so many steps ahead, and he said it's going to take like a 5-year project, and then we're going to rebuild it, and it's going to be a place where like everyone's going to live there. It's going to be global. If they want, they can come back and live there, and the whole world will live there, and everyone's going to have like. It sounded like he was talking about this as the 31 kings all had a palace in.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, everyone's going to have a place there. Like, it sounded like it. And everyone's just looking. The press doesn't even know what questions to ask. You have to understand the context here. For years, there's been talk of a two-state solution, and as if the Palestinian problem is this big problem, and Eretz Yisroel is the worst for anything they might do to encroach on Gaza, and every small thing to do is the worst, and there's genocide and ethnic cleansing and the whole business. Donald Trump, in 2 seconds, makes a 180 turn on the entire business. Two-state solution? He says, what are you talking about? There's no Gaza. The whole thing doesn't exist. It's a dump. We're fixing it up. Who's going to be in charge? Israel. No, U.S. He's removing the whole thing for the equation. He said the whole goalpost is moved 1,000,000 miles ahead of everything. They didn't even know what questions to ask. Just ethnic, we're ethnic cleansing, whatever you want to call it. Sure, why not? Sure, 100%. The whole thing, who's the bad guy now? Bibi? No, Trump. The guy that everyone voted for, the popular. It's beyond. Now, to clarify, because everyone's freaking out, to say that this is good for the Yidden, you have to keep one thing in mind. Oh, you have the clip? Oh, here we go, playing.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. With the same goal in mind, my administration has been moving quickly to restore trust in the alliance and rebuild American strength throughout the region. And we've really done that. We're a respected nation.
The main thing when it comes to this Eretz Yisrael, because people have different shittas, what was the Rebbe shita about Shleimus Eretz? Is this a good thing? Is this not a good thing? I'll say first of all, Hakdama, before these are the facts. Now we're going to go into a whole world of speculation. So here we go. Ba'akdama, that the Rebbe shita on Eretz Yisrael, some people say it's simple. I think it's complicated and confusing and subtle. So if I get it wrong, I'm sorry. Now, it appears to me that the main thing, really the only thing, is Koach Nefesh, the safety of the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael. That has always been the factor. I'll share with you something that I myself have seen. I don't remember where I saw it, but I read it. I couldn't believe it. I had to look it up. I found the source. It's a letter of the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, I agree with J.B. Soloveitchik. I would give away the old city of Yerushalayim. In 2 seconds, or 1 second, I would be ready to give it up, says the Rebbe, if that would bring peace. If that would save one Jewish life, I would do it. Now, the fact is, it won't. And that's very bad. Giving it away would be terrible for the safety of Eretz Yisrael. But the main factor, the main thing, is that always been, throughout all of the things that I spoke about, the main point is the safety of the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael. That's always been the only consideration. As I understand it, even the whole point of Shleimus Haaretz, about not giving away any land, and that Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Yidden, that's a prat, that's a detail. That's the first of all, it's important in and of itself. But mainly that's Negei Lasad Lavi. Mashiach comes that will have the Eretz Yisrael. We're not on some Zionist crusade to get every part of Eretz Yisrael. That's not our goal here. Our goal is to live peacefully. Every part of Eretz Yisrael you have, yes, you cannot give it away, obviously, because that would be dangerous to give it away. Any part you have Shulchan Aruch, Shin Chav Tes, that tells you cannot give it away because it's dangerous and not safe. The Rebbe says Shin Chav Tes, nothing to do with Eretz Yisrael, Shleimus Haaretz. Shin Chav Tes says that if people are coming to you, all this Ketev Nakash, if you have neighboring border people coming to you with some argument, even something about straw, on Shabbos you have to go with them. If it's a border town, on Shabbos go with weapons to go fight them. The Rebbe says this has nothing to do with Eretz Yisrael. This has to do with safety of any Jewish settlement. It could be in America. It wouldn't make a difference. If they're going to come to Borough Park, you got to go fight again. Anyways, Williamsburg. This is the way I understand it. The whole point of the Shleimus Haaretz thing, that's the inner stolz, the power. You have to have the pride that Eretz Yisrael is your land, and with that, you'll be able to answer all the other nations. That will give you the courage to do what you need to do in Eretz Yisrael with pride and not be scared and not say what will the nations say. This is how you answer the nations. With this pride that it's our land. But the main point has always been safety of Eretz Yisrael. Now, people are saying, why doesn't Bibi just take Gaza? Well, it'd be very nice if he did, but it doesn't seem like he has enough of the whatevers to do it. So he can complain, Haitachin Bibi is not a tzaddik and doesn't believe in Torah and he's a kafir and he's not taking Eretz Yisrael for the Yidden. I agree, you should do it, but he's not doing it. And he hasn't done it, he doesn't plan on doing it, and I don't know, whatever. He isn't doing that. It's a shame, correct. But he isn't. So the question is, how do we assure the safety of Yidden Eretz Yisrael? For years, conventional wisdom in the Middle East has been that in order to have peace, you need to fix the Palestinian problem. You need to have a two-state solution. Even Trump himself was speaking in the first term about a two-state solution. Once. it became clear after October 7th to him and anybody with a brain that there's no shaykhs of a two-state solution. It's fake news. It never makes any sense that they want to kill all the Yidden and they need to leave. He's more determined than ever, Donald Trump. You see the way he spoke. There is no possibility of Hamas continuing to be in charge. Of his whole big speech that he gave, the only part of it that actually made any sense, and is any shaykhs, the reality, is that there's not going to be any more Hamas in Gaza. That's for sure. Everything else that comes after that prat is details, and we all know that Trump is all about the art of the deal. Just look, I don't know how many people are following politics. It's not really the point, but how many things he accomplished that he said one thing and 2 seconds later he did something else. He said Canada's becoming the 51st state. He spoke about this for months. Or whatever, a while. And in the end, there's a bargaining chip to get them to fix it. He said we're going to make tariffs. Bargaining chip to fix the things up at the border. We're going to push it off a month. We're going to see what's going to happen. If you say it seriously enough, people take you seriously, and you get a bargaining chip. You have Colombia. We're not going to take your citizens. Oh, we're going to take them. Mexico. They caved in after 2 seconds. Everyone's caving in after 2 seconds. Trump speaks, pass the deal. He says, pass what he really wants. He says radical, outlandish things, and then he says it seriously. And then he has a bargaining chip to accomplish what he wants to accomplish. And Trump is powerful. He's not scared of anybody. He's not scared for nothing. Like we have to be about Mashiach. He says it the way it is. The world can find fun. People are going to be medachek. He's so past that. He doesn't care anymore. We're going to make it happen. What he's doing here, who's going to be in charge of Eretz Yisrael? What, you think that the plan, the way he says it now, that we have no idea what the plan's going to be. For all we know, the Yidden will end up being in charge. What do you think? Every single member of the Trump's cabinet, they all love Eretz Yisrael. Pete Hegseth said that we should build a service in Mikdash. They're all crazy radicalist about the Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Yidden. They're all for it. If they will clear out Gaza and actually do this and get rid of Hamas, first of all, practically speaking, it'll probably be that whoever wants to leave, that he's going to arrange. They have nowhere to go right now. They're all stuck there. Almost 2 million people. If he can arrange and strong-arm the rest of the Arab nations to find a place for these Palestinians to go away from Gaza, gewaldig. Their whole, the Nakba, it's our land. No. Bye. You're gone. Forget about it. Ethnic cleansing. Bye-bye. Adios. Whoever's left there, who's going to be left there? There's no more human shields. Whoever's going to be left there, it's all Hamas. You get rid of them. Clean out the place. You clean the place out. If he can accomplish this, and I am more hopeful of this happening now than it ever was previously. Because Trump doesn't talk. He's walk. He actually does things at a crazy rapid pace. We can actually have safety of Eretz Yisrael. Even if indeed America would keep the land, like he's saying, that's very, very good for the safety of the Yidden Eretz Yisrael. This means that we're not going to have Gaza making bombs or the Yidden from that whole region that's been a problem for thousands of years will finally be a place where there's peace. And that's more than anything what he actually wants. The rest of the details all remain yet to be seen. The only part, like I'll say it again, the only part of the whole speech that he actually seems to be serious about for sure is making it a safe place. The details of how he will accomplish that are going to be worked out. So this is tremendous news. And like we mentioned the first minute of this episode, it's all Pu'ulasa Shel Melech HaMashiach. That this is possible, the whole thing. Because the Rebbe told us that anything happening now, it's Pu'ulasa Shel Melech HaMashiach Lam. The Rebbe is definitely behind this, behind the scenes. And like you mentioned, we have to make sure to take advantage of it, to look at it with the right light. And Baruch Hashem, we know we're going to have every single Jewish community thanking the Eibishter on Shabbos, for whether they like it or not, because everyone's going to be reading the Shira. And but yeah, we have to realize if there's miracles happening, if this is a good thing, we need to thank the Eibishter for it. This is a very good thing for the safety of the Yidden Eretz Yisrael, and for all we know, even for Shleimus Haaretz. Because very good chance that if this goes through on some level, that of course the Israelis right there are going to be very involved in it. It'll be their land pretty much. We'll see exactly how this is going to happen. It's going to be, we'll see how it pans out. It looks very exciting. Even already now, the White House is walking, Carol, I didn't watch the press secretary. She was giving walking some of it back about, no, the Palestinians will be allowed to come back to work. The pratim of it already, it's obvious that this is a deal in the workings. And just like a week ago, whenever the hostage deal was, everybody was freaking out that the hostage deal is terrible. But the smart people, the Kluger mentioned, they said, just wait. You see, this deal is far from over. This isn't a regular deal. Trump is not the regular story. This is different. There's more to the story. You see already now, there's way more to the story. You see what he was thinking, what was behind the scenes. Just wait and see. As some people are saying, let Donald J. Trump cook. And really, we know, behind the scenes, it's let the Rebbe cook. Who's behind it, like we said? What's behind it is the Rebbe. What's behind it is the Eibishter running the scene. This world isn't running by itself. Everyone thinks this world is a big jungle. No. America is right now the most powerful nation. This means there's a big malach in Shemayim of Edom, of America. The Rebbe told us that Edom is already in his bar. Edom is already purified. And now we see it. There was a time when it wasn't so revealed. It seemed that Edom was going the other way. It seemed that America was falling apart, going against the Eibishter, against Tzedek Yesher. Now they're going all the way the opposite. Everything is about bringing God back into society. The vice president spoke today about how this country was founded upon a belief in the Eibishter, in serving the Eibishter, like the Rebbe says. A freedom of religion, to serve the Eibishter the way, without the government mixing in and forcing you to do this way or that way. You should be able to serve the Eibishter however you'd like. Each one according to their understanding. This is befeidish. They openly. This is what the administration talks about. Befeidish. This is what it's all about. Too often they talk about Eibishter, both of them and the president. Just today they signed a thing into law. Trump signed a thing into executive order. There's a Michigan crazy thing you would never even think of that the previous administration was all into. Transgender nonsense with things that men and women support. Michigan crazy things that you can never even imagine that the previous administration was all pro, so anti-Eibishter, so anti-Torah, so anti-reality. Now he's laughing at it. He's saying, what kind of craziness was that? We're bringing things back to reality. Of course, there are only two genders. What's even the Havamina? Well, what was everybody even thinking? We're signing it into law, and don't you dare try to find the thing. We'll fix it up in 2 seconds. We're going to come get you. We're going to make it right. There's going to be things the normal way. It's going to be normalcy, with common sense. He's not scared of nobody. People were so scared, terrified. It was a craziness. For years, people are fighting this fight about this transgender thing. For years, people are fighting an uphill battle. It's impossible. We're never going to win. 2 seconds. When you come with stolz, when you come with power, when you believe in yourself, you make it happen just like that. It's the same thing with, and this, you see how America's coming back towards Tzedek V'Yesher, towards the side of Torah, towards the side of the Eibishter. But look at the lesson we have to learn for the same thing. When you come with stolz, when you believe in yourself, you're not menachik anybody. Trump won the popular vote. He wasn't kidding. He said he's going to do all these things.
And not only that, but his approval rating is going up.
Going up. The most crazy thing. They can't believe it. I'm sorry for talking so much politics here, but it brings out the point. He said he's going to have Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, all these people who are very controversial. He said he campaigned on putting them all into office. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing the thing he said he's going to do. And he's doing it. And the left is freaking out. But his approval rate is going up. Everyone loves it. Everyone's like, yes, this is what we voted for. The people want Mashiach. The people want Geula. The people want... This is the reality. The Rebbe is telling us this is the reality. Give the people the reality. Give the people what they want. They'll be happy to receive it. But you need to say it with for 10 years there's been an uphill battle against transgender. But when you said it with stolz, when you stood up with people in charge, the people with power, and you said it, the whole thing falls apart. You realize the whole thing... Afterwards, you're going to look back and say this transgender nonsense was like a bad dream. It's like, what even was that? That didn't make any sense. How could anyone ever even think of doing any of these things? It's the same thing about Galus. It's going to fall apart. Of course, the Rebbe is Mashiach. Of course, we're leaving Galus. I heard a Sikha of the Rebbe today from Tavshich Chafei. But from the Fabrengen of Yud Shvat. It's a Hadran and Makas. Beautiful Sikha. The third Sikha there. Highly recommend. And the Rebbe is discussing the story of Rebbe Kiva and the Kiva Nichamtanu. I'm not getting into the whole Sikha, but the one quote the Rebbe says, you have people with problems. You might think pills are going to fix your problems. Says the Rebbe, pills aren't going to fix your problems. Maybe calm you down a bit. You might think mashka is going to fix your problems. Get drunk. That's going to help you sleep at night. That's not really going to fix your problem. Says the Rebbe, you know what your problem is? The problem is you have a neshama. Neshama is a chilek elika mimal mamish. It is a veritable piece of Hashem. And the Rebbe was talking about, bringing a guy into the house, marrying shiksis or whatever it was, Flan. But it applies to anything. And the Rebbe was saying how your neshama can't rest. Your neshama is not going to be able to let you go to sleep peacefully. when you're not serving the Eibishter properly, when you have a fox in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. You can play all the games. The reality is going to win. The reality says that if you have a neshama, and at the end of the day, with all the tricks you want to play, your neshama is going to win. Your neshama is not going to let you be peaceful until it will shine forth that pintel yid and bring it out. You're going to end up returning to the Eibishter, and you're going to end up lifting up your neshama and revealing your neshama in your whole in your all of you. It's the same thing here. The Rebbe is telling us the reality is that the Geula is here. The reality is that Mashiach is here. And the longer we spend ignoring it, it's not going to help. It's like taking a pill, focusing on other things. It's not going to help because that's not the reality. Just as much as all this nonsense in America of the past 10, 15 years didn't last because it's not reality. Reality will win. The reality is the Geula is here. The reality is Rebbe's Mashiach. And the reality is that the shlichus that Rebbe gave us is to win it to greet Mashiach. And if that's the shlichus that Rebbe gave us, the Rebbe will win in the end. Reality is going to win in the end. The reality is on the side of Torah, on the side of the Rebbe, on the side of Mashiach. And it's going to happen immediately. Hashem, even before Shvat, already before bringing with the Rebbe Melech HaMashiach, Bekad of Mamish.
Amen. Amen.
Yechia Melech.
ועד כדי כך המדב גולהוב מהדר עם זול מחי זין יחי המלך